Hey guys, it's me, it's Queen Osset Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. All right, guys, if you have time, please give this video a thumbs up and give us a comment in the comment section. I would love to know how many of you have dealt with emotional connection issues and if you've been able to overcome them. Likewise, if you know somebody who's dealing with this, please pass this video on to them as well. Now, I wanted to say that I really want to help this brother. This is very important to me because on this channel, we always talk about how Aquarius don't always establish the healthiest of emotional connections. Some of us don't even try. And a lot of Aquarius men get accused of this frequently. So because this brother is really trying, I would love to give him some real answers, some real help. And what he said was in his letter that he wants to become more emotionally connected to the people in his life and people who are going to come into his life. So he said, as an Aquarius specifically, how can he do this? And I felt like what he really was asking me for was a map or a formula for how to create emotional connections. And whereas I can't give you that because there is no 100% every time accurate formula. You know, this isn't geometry class, I can't give you a formula that's going to work every single time because these types of relationships, these types of connections are organic and they have to happen naturally. So you can't make them occur. But what I can tell you are ways that will make it easier for you to develop them. So let's go here. The very first thing you want to do if you want to begin to establish healthy emotional connections is you want to make sure that you are emotionally healthy. Many of us, this is the root of the problem. Many of us have problems with our lovers, our friends, our neighbors, and others because we're constantly playing out our hurt. We're constantly acting out our wounds. The bitterness we feel, the sadness we feel, the hurt we feel. We're constantly either covering it or expressing it in ways that are not productive and are not healthy. We take it out by yelling at the girl at the checkout counter. We take it out by getting into disagreements with our brother or our sister. If you have hurts and wounds and unhealed places inside of you, you will play those out with the people around you. So it's going to make it almost impossible to have a healthy emotional connection when you don't have a healthy emotional self. So that's the first thing you want to do. You want to get therapy. You want to get self-help books from Ian Van Zandt or Louise L. Hay or people that you research and look up. You want to get self-help books. You want to watch videos on healing. You want to do therapy. You want to do journaling. You want to watch my videos because I have 1,000 videos on emotional healing. That's where you want to start because only from that space can you move forward. Now, if you're already emotionally healthy, you can skip this one and move directly into number two. Number two is you have to get emotionally intelligent. This should be a little easier than the first one for Aquarius because we're all about the intellect. We're all about the logic. So you can get books, again, videos. There are also emotional intelligence workshops. Google it and read papers on it. Really get emotionally intelligent. And emotional intelligence really isn't a big deal. What it really is understanding emotions. Understanding your emotions, understanding how to express them productively, understanding how to make them work for you in the positive, understanding other people's emotions, how to pick up on their emotions, and how to deal with them, how to communicate with them. It's all about how to understand and how to utilize emotion. That's what emotional intelligence is all about. So once you got that down pat, you're good. You got one, you got two. Now, this part, you have to use the law of attraction. So now that you have those two things down pat, which are two of the biggest parts, now the third biggest part is you need people that are worthy of connecting with. So if these are new people you want, then you have to use the law of attraction to attract trustworthy, emotionally healthy people. That has to be your focus. That has to be your affirmation. That has to be what you look to manifest. Now, the people that are already in your life, some of them are and some of them aren't going to be emotionally healthy enough to have a healthy emotional relationship with. Some of them you're going to have to kick to the curb. Some of them you can work with. And some of them you're going to have to just deal with a long handled spoon and address later. Because some of these people may get better with time, and then you may be able to establish better connections with them. So the first thing you want to do is look at that. The ones I talked about, drawing new people to you. So let's say you want to draw an emotional connection with a new girlfriend. So now you're going to be focusing on the law of attraction and drawing to you a trustworthy, emotionally healthy partner. Now, let's say you've done all this. You have an emotionally healthy partner, either a new one or somebody who's willing to work with you. And now you're like, okay, I got everything in place. Now what? Now the fun part begins, because now you start to actually establish the connection. And the only way to establish this natural, organic connection is by spending time together. You have to talk to this person, Aquarius. You have to tell this person how you feel. You have to honestly and openly talk about your feelings and listen to theirs, vice versa. It's all about the bonding. You're telling them your feelings. You're talking about things you like. You're going places with them. You're talking all the time. You want to really experience life with them. Go to museums together, go to shows together. You establish this emotional connection by spending time with the person. Even if you guys are just talking on the phone or talking on a computer or whatever the case is, if you're talking to them from your heart, if you're sharing your hearts with each other, and this is where this gets really deep, because this is where the connection part comes in. If you two are sharing your souls, your heart and soul with each other, you will eventually connect. Because remember, sometimes it takes longer than others, but you will eventually connect. Now remember, sometimes it's not going to happen because of the reasons I stated earlier in the video, but most of the time, by the time you get to this space, when you're starting to really bond, a lot of times it will happen. The emotional connection will be there. Sometimes it'll be easier than others. So now you've established this emotional connection. The last thing you have to do is maintain it, nurture it. So you keep looking out for each other. You keep being loyal to each other. You keep talking to each other, if this is platonic or not. You keep spending time together. You really be a friend to this person. And you nurture your relationship through communication, comprehension, understanding each other, and doing things together, experiencing fun things together. That's how you establish an emotional connection. And if it doesn't happen, I would give it a certain amount of time. Emotional connections usually happen within the first 12 months, generally, for most of us. So if it didn't happen within that time frame, I would start to wonder, is this possible or not? But in most cases, it will either have happened or the relationship will have gone its separate ways within a year. So give yourself a year to really develop it. And don't work on it like homework, Aquarius. Don't be, we're going to like homework. Just let it flow. When you guys want to hang out, hang out. When they want to talk, talk. When something is bothering you, inbox them and say, hey, you feel like talking? Can you talk now? Maybe later? Don't hold your feelings inside. Share them with this person, because that's the emotional connection part. You're connecting because you're sharing your feelings with each other, and it's drawing you together and helping you bond. So that's how you do it. And I know in some instances that might be kind of vague, you know, because you're like, so I just hang out with them? Yeah, that's it. You just hang out with them, you get to know them, you spend time. But the emotional connecting part really happens when you share your emotions and not just anger. Share your frustration, share your anger, but also share your triumphs too. Share your sadness, you know? Share all of it. You and this person share all of it and establish that connection with each other. And then when you're finished with that one person, or maybe even simultaneously, you may have other connections that you're establishing with other people. And some of the people from the past that you didn't have a connection with before, now that you're healthy, you might be able to go back to some of those old relationships. Because, like, when I was coming from an unhealthy, unhappy, bitter space, there's certain people I couldn't even be around. My daughter's father was one of them. Could not be around him. And now I've noticed those relationships have changed. I can be around almost all of those people now and they don't bother me. Whereas before they got on my nerves so bad. They got on my nerves. Oh, okay. Now it's not like that. Now it's like, okay, you know? And the vibrations have changed. The energy has changed. Even though in some cases the person hasn't changed. But I've changed. So how I receive them has changed. You see? So some of those old relationships that don't work now might work later. It depends on if there's love really present there. Also, if you're dealing with people who are emotionally unhealthy, you're not going to be able to establish emotionally healthy relationships with them. So people who are unhealthy, I would stay away from, or I would encourage to get healthy. You might be the catalyst for some of them to decide, well, damn, he got healthy, he's doing his thing, maybe I can do that too. So that's how you establish emotional connections. Brother, I appreciate your question, and I'm happy to see that you care enough to even try to do this, because it's not easy for Aquarius. You know, we have a lot of emotion, but it's not always easy for us to deal with it. So you're doing a very brave thing, and I hope everything works out. All right, guys, it's time for me to get going. So if you would like a reading, please email me and I'll give you an appointment. Likewise, if you would like to talk to me, all of my information will be underneath this video. If you want to send me a gift, my PayPal will be underneath this video and my Amazon wish list. If you would like to become a patron on Patreon, my Patreon will be underneath this video. And please come back soon because you know, as always, I have a lot more to say. See you later.